The Blue Jewel.
Chapter 4. Part 1. Jumel sternly observed the guards. He did not like the idea of not being able to watch his lord, but today it was necessary for him to attend the meeting as well. So he chose those he trusted most, all with blood ties, first cousins of his. He had no doubt that if necessary they would lay down their lives for him and his master. When he passed by them, he did not speak to them. The orders were clear and concise: kill anyone who tried to enter the royal chambers. The order was clear: once the door was closed, no one from outside could enter. Disobeying was punishable by death. Jumel was thus expeditious, but it had always worked. Where others doubt, he never, with which he always played with advantage. Jumel was tall, very tall, far exceeded 2 meters in height. Even for his race he was tall. He had large green eyes and a pronounced forehead. His chin was square and a flat nose. But his most characteristic feature was a huge scar that decorated his face on the left side. He advanced vertically from the forehead to the chin. That scar was what he hated most in life, and hated even more the culprit of such a fact. Someday he would take revenge on that damn half-orc, but he stopped thinking about future revenge and focused on what is really important. When Jumel entered the room, his lord had already begun the ritual. In that state he was quite vulnerable. He would be at the mercy of any possible attacker. He did not like it at all, but had to accept the risk of performing the ritual as well, slowly taking his seat. His lord was in front of him. He seemed to sleep pleasantly, and certainly something like a dream was. On the table that separated them were 2 wooden boxes, simple, without any ornament or anything. One of them was already open, the other was for Jumel. His hands slowly approached the box to open it. It was covered with red velvet, and inside was a teardrop-shaped stone of matte black color. The stone was very easy to handle. You just had to place it under your tongue and close your eyes. Jumel looked again at his lord and placed the stone under his tongue. The effect was immediate, and he felt his soul leave his body and enter a kind of white tunnel. The journey was brief, lasting a few seconds. When he came out of the tunnel he was in a large circular hall of white marble. There were no doors in the room, as they were not needed. With his gaze he looked for his lord, who was sitting in one of the preferred places located to the left of the throne. He approached decisively without paying attention to the other attendees. He stood beside his lord, standing, as always. His lord gave a look of approval. Reginald I of Arceus had achieved the throne by his own means. Of humble origin, he was born as a simple farm boy and had managed to become king. Only Jumel knew what his lord had sacrificed for absolute power. Little by little the members of the circle arrived, great lords of the world. There was the great king of the elves, who ruled the palace of heaven. 2 dwarf kings, the grand master of the white robes. And many more people who did not know who they were, but surely important people are their respective cities and countries. There was always a figure that always interested Jumel, a wizard, or at least he thought he was a magician, in black robe and a golden mask. Everyone called him the Dark One. He was always present at all the meetings, but he was placed in a place alleged from the rest of those present. Jumel was interested, but everyone else seemed to ignore him. When Jumel once asked his lord about the Dark One, Reginald could not give him a concrete answer, but one thing was clear: if he was there it was for a reason, since no member of the circle was by chance. When all the members of the circle mentioned arrived, all those present remained in silence, observing the throne. It had a simple design, no crowns, no engravings. It was of a large size, made for a giant, but there was nothing that made reference to who occupied it. A white light appeared out of thin air, and before them a purple shadow emerged. Everyone bowed. The shadow lowered his head in gratitude and sat on the throne. The shadow was high, more than 3 meters. Only a silhouette of a well-proportioned figure and strong complexion was appreciated. Sometimes the shadow changed color or sparkled, but nothing more. Every day is approaching the time when I can return to Shanaris. But first it is necessary to discover who is the chosen one of the gods. Everyone was silent, no one dared to speak to a god, especially this god, the god of evil. He had many names, in many languages. He did not usually name himself since all those who were chosen to belong to his circle knew that they had only one choice, absolute obedience. Names were something totally unnecessary for them. But their lord, the king of Arsia, was a man made of a very special wood and spoke on behalf of all the members of the circle. Yes, my lord, we have spies looking for signs of its existence. The divinity observed Reginald. Although in the shadow you could not see his eyes, you noticed immediately when he was watching you, since all the hairs on his back stood up and the entrails were turned. However, the monarch was one of his favorites and the deity pleasantly accepted his words. And about my brother, do we know anything? Elaban, it has not been heard from for more than 1,000 years. A voice of authority entered the conversation. It was the Grand Master of the White Robes. The shadow under the head reflectively. He is on your plane. It is necessary to discover his identity. I have spent generations of loyalists to locate him. Time is running and it is necessary to find him. You must destroy both of them. They are the only thing standing in the way of my return. Silence reigns again. Prophecy would be fulfilled and the god of evil would return to rule Shanaris, and only those who were faithful would be rewarded. The rest would perish under his great power. My lord. I speak again, the Grand Master of the White Robes. We have received news. They have found the last of the lost blue jewels. The shadow of the divinity flickered for a moment. It was a subtle change in color. It did it few times, but when it did, it is that something important happened. The triumph of Elaban will return. It's no coincidence, it's not. He knows that the time is coming. Find that jewel and Elaban won't be far away, and neither will the chosen one of the gods. I will take care of my lord, commented the Grand Master of the White Robes. Reginald looked at the Grand Master with some disdain. He didn't trust him. He didn't really trust any magician, but especially this one. He was too old and powerful. One of the most senior members within the circle. So be it, take care of the jewelry. I trust all of you. He only commented on the divinity. Then everyone present felt great pain, as if their skin had been torn off. Jumal opened his eyes, spit out the black stone from his mouth. It was hard for him to breathe. He hated going to that place. He hated it with all his strength. When he regained his composure, he looked up and looked at his master. His Majesty Reginald did not seem to sit so badly on the trip. In fact, he was fiddling with his black stone. Jumal, our lord has told me that we need you to go to Tripulia. Put yourself at the service of the Grand Master, but do not get involved. It is important that you observe everything that is going to happen, and then on your return tell us all the details. Listen well, no matter who you meet, don't get too involved. Just observe. What if the Grand Master betrays us? In that case, kill him. Yes, my lord. How long will I be in Tripulia? His Highness looked at Jumal with some contempt. It was not customary for him to ask questions when receiving an order. The time that is necessary, when it is time to return, you will already know.